Hey guys, just wanted to do my reaction video to The Flash, Season 5, Episode 17, Time Bomb. So last couple episodes that I didn't get a chance to do any reaction videos to just because I had a lot going on. 515, King Shark versus Gorilla Grodd. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. I liked how they finally addressed the moral dilemma of administering the cure with or without consent. I was kind of on Barry's side because when they try to go talk to Killer Shark, aka Shay Lambden, he seemed like he was open to the cure before he was kind of affected by Grodd's power, and he was almost about to kill Cisco. So I kind of didn't blame Barry for using that as his first gut was just to use that in order to save Cisco's life. And I did kind of feel like he was Cisco wasn't really being understanding of the position he was in, and he was kind of being a bit of ungrateful for it. And as nice that they fleshed out, Shay Lambden, and when using the cure on him, we did see him in his human form and how his mind evolving into more shark-like was what prevented Grodd from fully controlling him, and he wanted to atone for his actions. And the cure didn't totally work because it seemed like he still had some dark matter in his I guess to say it was I think it's pituitary gland. So that's why he was he was there were moments where he was shifting, he was he was kind of a whole Jekyll and Hyde scenario. And of course I forgot. She was an actress. Zibby Allen was the actress who played the widow of Shay's Earth One doppelganger, and it was kind of clear that there was kind of an attraction between them, and she was afraid of falling in love. It's it's just the doppelganger of my dead husband. But they kind of had their kiss and admitted their love for one another, but he did opt to turn back into King Shark, which means using Cisco using his vibe blast on him would permanently return him to his Killer Shark form, and the cure wouldn't work on him again. But he did to save the city and prevent Grodd from using the head mind device, the head. I guess his quote unquote crown from the comic, Grodd's quote unquote crown from the comics that allowed him to expand his mind control was being used on Shay Lambden to tap into his human mind, but he decided to sacrifice his humanity to stop Grodd from trying to take over the city. And he it was pretty the CGI was on and off, but it was a pretty intense fight, and I liked. And Grodd kind of got the upper hand until Barry and Nora intervened and used their electrokinesis to shoot lightning and power up Killer Shark, King Shark, and allowed him to get the edge, kick Grodd's ass. They had, there was a little subplot where I'm not sure it was PTSD or some kind of fear going back to her office after Nora told her about the timeline one of the timelines where she was kidnapped. But it was nice to have Joe back. It was nice to have their heart to heart and have a whole boxing lesson, to kind of vent her aggression and fear, get her confidence back. It was all right. And 516 was where they decided oh, we're gonna offer the cure to get him to take the cure willingly, which I thought was a stupid ass idea, because it's why would he give up the powers that allow him for his crusade to continue? And after Joe put two and two together and realized Dr. Ambrose was the one assisting Cicada because her husband was killed in Zoom's Metapocalypse from season 2, and his investigation skills and Cecilia using her powers, they were able to finally not only get her to admit to her helping him, but also find out that Grace was a meta, and even though Barry trying to talk him down, trying to talk Cicada down the first time failed. That new information allowed him to kind of like convince him to, you know, take the cure willingly, which he did. But then of course there was an appearance of another cicada, which I immediately knew was Grace Gibbons from the future, because they hinted at that she would become the second cicada and carry on her uncle's legacy in the post Flashpoint timeline, which is why it was said that it's like, oh, she was never caught. Or cicada was never caught. It's like, oh, they caught the Dwyer cicada, but they never. But then after Flash disappeared in 2024, Grace presumably took up the mantle and carried out the killings, and so she inexplicably was able to come back in time to the exact. Even knew what even knew what Team Flash was doing. They were able to like attack Star Lab. She has like she had like she ended up having 2 daggers of her own, and she was using to deflect like bullets and any kind of like energy blast sent by anybody on Team Flash. And there's like her powers like allowed her to like use like energy blast like as a restraint and like to move objects. So like some latent form of telekinesis. Interestingly enough, it didn't nullify. It didn't you know, temporarily nullify anybody's powers, but she was able to deflect like whatever they threw at her, bullets, throwing lightning, vibro blast, killer frost blast, and basically able to subdue the team. I don't know why she didn't kill them, but she ended up killing Dr. Ambrose, presumably because she was helping Team Flash to take your uncle's powers away. And so she was able to, you know, grab the dagger and take Orlin to some cabin where, you know, it was kind of confirmed that was Orlin, that was the Grace Gibbons from the future, played by Sarah Carter, who was on Falling Skies. And if anybody who was a Smallville fan, remember she played Alicia Baker, Clark Kent's kind of Fatal Attraction-esque girlfriend from that series. So I was happy by the casting choice. She proved to be far more menacing and badass than the Orlin Dwyer cicada, and I'm glad that she's going to be taking over, presumably as the big bad for like the last stretch of episodes. I feel like this is what cicada should have been like more after episode 3, but you know, a lackluster backstory and Chris Klein's over the top cheesy acting kind of hurt that. But I'm glad we're getting a Cicada 2.0, and it'll be interesting. And apparently, it's supposed to be the episode where Nora kind of confesses to her allegiance with Thawne. I feel like I'm convinced that the only way she would know about what was going on is she was tipped off by Thawne, because he knows so much about, you know, time travel and the timeline. What they were doing is like, who else would she get her information from about what's going on? So it'll be interesting to see if my theory is confirmed.
You said manipulating the timeline would stop Cicada. You said you knew what you were doing.
I know what I said. I was very wrong.
What do we do? What do we do now?
I can't help you anymore. Little runner.
What? You have to help me.
It's too late.
There's got to be something we can do. You have to help.
There's only one thing left to do. Tell your father. You tell your father everything.
Can't help Nora, but you probably help Grace? So...
All right. Nora, let's see what we have here. Boring, banality, boring. Come on. I know you're working with someone, but no names. Clara girl.
Hey, this Cortex isn't gonna clean itself, you know.
So I was supposed to suspend disbelief that took months to decode.
Nice table. Liking the new digs.
Well, technically they're old digs, but I guess...
The lighting, apparently. Pretty sure that's a vacuum.
Okay, keep looking.
Well, remind me again what we're looking for.
It's like a huge round glass bubble.
You mean like that?
Yeah, we found it.
Don's time sphere, you sure?
What do you mean, am I sure?
Pretty sure.
I'm looking right at it. Why?
They destroyed that.
Because we're looking right at it too.
Oh, but that's still to be destroyed too.
You've got your ATM card.
What'd you see?
The victims. They were Grace Gibbons' parents.
Stop.
She's innocent. It was an accident.
There are no accidents, Nora.
Oh,
Vicky?
We have to help Mom.
Alice! Alice, no!
what the?
My speed's back.
We need to get them out of here.
How long do you think you can keep those two worlds separate?
You got a point.
My mom dated this guy, Craig, and Craig was a tax accountant and a freelance bull rider. Never let one world know about the other and just tore him up. More than those bulls ever did.
I should definitely be working.
Look, the thing is, I get why you're afraid of losing what you have with Camilla, but if you keep her out of this world, then it seems to me that you're always going to be turning off a part of yourself.
Video log, entry 247. I have long struggled with time's insistence on change. One variable changes the timeline. Our memories are changed too, without any knowledge of time's other possibilities, but not anymore. Where are you going with this? Just as the human body is made up of DNA, so too is the multiverse made up of its own unique source code. One that cannot be altered, no matter what timeline you're in. Until now, because I have cracked that code. And so the timeline may be malleable.
I know you want revenge for your
But
parents.
it wasn't that woman's fault. It doesn't change that they're dead. Or that I became this.
We can help you.
With your cure? There's only one cure for this, Flash. Death.
Guys, I can't keep this up. Nora, you need to hang on for a little bit longer. You're gonna turn on
The alleyway on Fuller.
the alleyway on Fuller. Be ready. For what?
Ooh, I am not loving that.
Guys, we need you two at the hospital.
Let's go.
How is it? Okay.
And that hate turned into something even worse. It was wrong to make you feel that way, Gracie. But you don't have to go down the same path I did. You don't have to hold on to this anger. Let it go.
But my parents.
It was an accident. Let it go. Before it's too late, like it is for me.
You're right, Uncle Orlin.
Oh my god. She's gonna kill him. Jesus Christ.
It is too late.
Save my Grace. secret. Right? She doesn't know where to start. Difficult to know where to begin when your secret threatens everything, everyone around you.
Look, stop it.
Maybe you start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. When you first time travel, you're so careful to leave the lightest footprint until you suddenly change course and brazenly interfere with the Tinker satellite as it crashed to Earth. I think to myself, no, this excessive action doesn't make sense until you understand that it wasn't your idea.
Please stop.
Someone instructed you to do it.
Stop.
Someone whose handwriting is in your journal. Someone who wrote the timeline is malleable. Same person who's been directing you all this time, making puppets of all of us as he seeks to alter the timeline to suit his own purpose. The abort thought, the reverse flash, your teacher, your partner, your secret.
Nora? Please tell us this isn't true.
She can't. Because it is true.
I wanted to tell you. I tried to tell you.
Whoa.
Dad, please. Dad! I'm sorry I lied to you.
So am I.
Holy shit. So, wow. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it was already hinted at by the fact that it's like Grace has become so monstrous, she doesn't care who she kills, meta or not. She'll kill anybody who gets in the way of her goals. And I figured that Orla was going to be so horrified that she would try to stop her. But, you know, I guess I kind of had an inkling in the back of my mind there was a possibility that she would kill her own uncle, but it's like you would think that maybe she would treat him as a morality pet and be reluctant to do it, and it's like this is the family this is like the only family that she had and cared for him, and I'm not quite sure why not destroying what effects destroying the time spear would have, why they wouldn't even just test it, and it's like it kind of creates a plot hole that the time spear was destroyed in that iconic scene where Barry came back through the wormhole and shattered it with supersonic punch, and they had this whole fight between him and Thawne, and then Eddie killed himself to wipe Thawne from existence, at least temporarily. So it's like, how is it still intact? It was like, people haven't forgotten about that episode. It was a pretty, like, iconic episode. So I don't know why the producer would think that we were just have, like, the memory span of a goldfish, that we just forget about it, and without any explanation, and I don't know, maybe, like, why they would reassemble it for any reason is, like, that's the lack of explanation we're getting. I mean, I figured they'd at least get an explanation for why they can't just use the cure on Grace, because she's too fragile, and, you know, the shard in her head, we don't know if it's gonna, like, they don't want to, like, kill a child, like, I can go with that, but now it makes you wonder, like, what kind of threat Grace is gonna pose. It's like, she's proved to be far more ruthless and menacing than her own uncle, and maybe this was, like, a deliberate thing, but it's like, considering the problems with, you know, Chris Klein's overacting, and I feel like a lack of like kind of an underwhelming backstory. I just felt like they kind of missed opportunities where it's like, yeah, they talk about the doctor's fiance being killed during Zoom's rampage, but it's like, why couldn't the similar circumstances happened to Grace's parents? You know, maybe it's something like they're like going out for dinner and they're killed during like the Metapocalypse, or Speed Force Storm, or something like, because the cops are the red shirts of this series, like why couldn't they be killed in one of the sting operations to catch one of the past three evil speedster big bads, like, the man in yellow? They could have, or something like, they could have been like one or more of Grace's parents could have been on the force, and they could have been killed by Savitar in 306 when they were trying to stop the sting operation to get alchemy, or be one of the cops from 220 when they were in Jitters trying to get Rupture, and then Zoom came in and killed all the cops and ruined that sting operation. Or even better, be one or more of the cops that were killing the sting operation from the Man in Yellow, the season 1 mid-season finale, to that they got killed. They were among the cops that Thawne killed, which would give a sense of dramatic irony, considering, if Thawne's really on the level, then of course it would make sense for him trying to stop this version of Cicada that he led him down this path of darkness and pain, or contributed to it. So that's why I feel it was kind of a missed opportunity. And the show, the whole series theme of the season is about family and legacy, so you would have think they were kind of, play into that more. But, but it's still an interesting take to have Grace's parents be killed by an accident. I'm glad they were able to put 2 and 2 together right away, and connect. They're starting to connect the dots. I'm shocked that Barry would. I would have thought, the cliffhanger would have ended with Barry just trying to like race into the future to Thawne's cell and Nora going after him, but no, she just straight up locked her in the pipeline because she. I mean, I get him for being angry, but yeah, he completely broke his trust and worked with his worst enemy. And I'm glad Sherlock finally was able to decode that journal. But I feel it's a bit of a stretch that it's like it took like several months to like decode translated journal, when it's like I feel like in real life something like that would have taken like, I don't know, like maybe like several hours, if anything. But I guess because it's, Speed Force language, I don't know. It's kind of ironic, but it just almost feels like a bit of a plot contrivance. But yeah, this is pretty intense episode, pretty much. Her Grace's rage feels palpable. She feels like a legitimate threat, and she doesn't have to like ham it up to be threatening. It's like more of like a case of show don't tell, without. It's like like scenery Chudy says like, "Oh, I'm threatening, don't fuck with me," kind of thing that Chris Klein was doing. And he was definitely less hammy. He was still doing the raspy thing, but yeah, it kind of felt more like, yeah, he would, because it was like the damage to his lungs, and not so much because he was trying to just come across as menacing. It was too over the top that had an opposite effect. But yeah, she's like a straight up monster, and I kind of wish we'd gotten this version of Cicada at least a few episodes earlier. And I'm wondering if they're even going to consider the fact that at least like take Grace out of the hospital, so present day Grace out of the hospital, so future Grace won't have the idea to just try to grab her, so that they won't try to use the cure on her. I'd be surprised if she doesn't attempt that in the next few episodes, or that's not addressed. But apparently the show's going to be going on hiatus. I don't know for how long, probably for a couple of weeks because of March Madness, and just so they can like finish, so the cast and crew can finish up the last remaining episodes. Like I think they still have like maybe like 3 more episodes left to film, so I guess they just want to finish that on time so they have like the episodes produced and edited and to meet the timetable of when to air them. But yeah, I mean, they're supposed to have like, Daniel Panabaker said she wasn't going to be very present in this episode because she was prepping to direct 518, which is supposed to feature Godspeed. From the behind the scenes photos, it seems they're going to be traveling to the future, I guess, to learn more about, Grace Cicada, and or how Thawne first forged his relationship with Nora. I mean, it sucks we have to wait a couple of weeks, but hopefully they'll go by quickly and the show will be back in no time. But what do you guys think of the episode? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.